Hello and welcome to Nottingham, where it's 5 a.m. and we're surrounded by over 1,000 bicycles whose owners have been bleary-eyed waking up in tents, hotel rooms and houses all across the city to come down to the waterfront here and compete in this iconic distance event.
Yeah, you can definitely feel the nerves jangling down here. The Outlaw Triathlon starts in the lake behind us at the National Water Sports Centre with a 2.4-mile swim. Then it's followed by a 112-mile bike ride around the roads of Nottinghamshire. Then it's all about the 26.2-mile marathon, which takes the competitors out into the city centre, back around the lake again, across the finish line, and gives them the title of being an outlaw.
A worthy title indeed, and for many of these athletes it will be about achieving their personal best, but for just as many others it will all be about getting to that finish line and hearing the roar of the crowd in this iconic distance event, which has become famous for its atmosphere and its support.
With the amount of gels and drinks on these bikes, it's pretty obvious that there's going to be some hungry competitors out there and that there's no ordinary challenge in store. Here's Patrick Winterton with the details of the day to come.
Well, there are hungry athletes all over the place, and even those who entered the Blue 70 swim yesterday, a fantastic event involving all sorts of distances and some really good performances. They can put their feet up today and watch those trying to become an outlaw, achieving great distances. Just in case you missed them, 2.4-mile swim, 112-mile bike ride, and then finishing it off with the marathon, which is the one that does damage to both the body and the mind. It's so tough to keep it going. But many would argue it's the bike ride where you can make up plenty of time. Winding their way around the Nottinghamshire roads, there's one significant hill which may catch a few out. The pacing's so important on a race of this distance. If anyone goes under 9 hours, they've done brilliantly. If anyone gets under 17 hours, they will become an outlaw. Now, no one is guaranteed to finish. So many things can go wrong. But if you do finish, you are guaranteed to get a welcome like none other.
I'm stood on the finish line, the calm before the storm, and I'm holding the winner's shirt. This is what all the competitors will be battling out for. And joining me on the finish line is last year's winner, Eugene. Thanks very much for joining us. This is currently my shirt. I know you won it last year. A little bit unexpected, if you don't mind me saying so. And you were even surprised. Why was that?
Well, the race last year, I came here to do my best, and I paced it well, and fortunately it was sufficient enough to actually win the event, and I was as surprised as anybody else, but absolutely delighted to win the Outlaw. But I keep coming back, partly because the weather's always fantastic, but also it's a tremendous course, and we cycle round sort of North Nottinghamshire through some beautiful sort of villages. The run is along the river up to Trent Bridge and back, and the swim here is actually in this amazing sort of venue here, which is really warm and settled, and it's a fantastic event with wonderful support. So here I am.
Well, good luck to the defending champion. This is Kimberly Mangleshot, who's just happy to be here. She put in a huge amount of training for Challenge Barcelona, which is a race of the same length, but had to pull out of that at the last minute because of illness. And she's come here with a couple of goals, the first of which she's almost achieved.
To get to the start line, that's what I've said all along after Barcelona last year, and I'm pretty much here. In fact, I'm right by the finish line. It's pretty scary. To get to the start, to enjoy the swim, to have a cracking bike and a sensible run, and to finish in daylight, anything more than that will be absolutely awesome. I've got a little saying that says, I know I can, I'm sure I can, because I am. And that's something that on the bike and on the run, I know I can, I'm sure I can, because I am. It's a boom, boom, bump. It's just a repetitive, in my head metronome, and it just makes me smile.
And it's that sort of mental approach that gets you round a course like this. It's dawn and it's race day, and everyone has their own routine.
Well, the tension down here is palpable, which is hardly surprising with what's to come. Behind every athlete, there's a story. And with the amount of investment and preparation that goes into an event like this, there's a lot riding on what happens today, as we've been finding out as we caught up with some of the Outlaws. Is it your first one or you're returning?
Ironman, yeah. I've been here watching others, but yeah, it's the first one I've done myself, yeah.
How's your training been going?
Not very consistent.
There are plenty of first-timers here, but there are also those who just can't get enough.
Just enjoyed it so much last year. Great event, great atmosphere, nice location for us, not too far to travel, and everything's all on one site, so it makes life a lot easier than some other events where you're different locations for all the transitions. So yeah, great day.
There are all levels of athlete down here in transition as the guys get ready on their bikes. I'm joined by Jamie Quarry, former Commonwealth athlete, but decathlon was your event, Jamie.
Yeah, so this is something very, very different, but no less a challenge anyway.
How's your training been going leading up to this?
Prior to this, it was going quite well. I was looking forward to it and I was quite optimistic. I've had some problems in weeks leading up to it, problem with my calf, one or two things, but so hopefully it's just a case of getting it done and get round and see what happens, really.
Decathlon is 10 events. There are 3 events effectively here today. Which one are you looking forward to least?
Probably the swim. I say the swim is something I've kind of learned to swim in the last year, or learned to swim better in the last year. Once I get that out of the way, I can sit on the bike for a bit, and then. But yeah, I think just getting the swim out of the way.
Well, some of them look like they can't believe that this is actually happening, but race day really is here. But I can tell you, there are some nerves out there.
Absolutely petrified. Absolutely petrified.
I don't really know what to expect apart from pain, exhaustion, but elation at the end, hopefully.
Done plenty of preparation ahead of today?
I hope so. It's a bit too late now for Evans.
How are you feeling?
Yeah, all right. Nervously optimistic, I think. It's too late to have nerves now, really, isn't it?
Well, this is the moment then. All of the hours, weeks and months of preparation is all about this. It's time for the off. So let's go join your race commentator.
Well, this is a sight I've been looking forward to all weekend. All 1,150 swimmers in the water at the same time. The orange caps belonging to those involved in a relay race. The white caps are those going the whole distance. And away they go. Those at the back are going to take just a few seconds more before they can find some clear water. Those at the front already some 60, 70 metres away. Now, Tom Vickery, a 27-year-old, should be amongst that leading group. He did a sub-10 hour in Lanzarote recently, and that's an indication that he's on pretty good form.
At the start of the swim, you're thinking, right, what line am I taking to the first buoy? Who's around me? Which feet am I looking for? Which athletes are near me, staying out of trouble? I think that's what I tend to focus on. It's almost the processes rather than the end goal. I'd hope to swim about a 55. You know, the best swimmers may swim a 50, but 5 minutes lost in the swim is nothing compared to the bike or the run.
Well, that's certainly the case. But if you can get a 50-minute swim, it puts you in a very good position at the start of the bike ride. Craig Twigg is a man who's strong on the bike. He'll be looking forward to the second phase, and he's a sub-9 hour man.
Every race you do, you always learn something different. And the thing about Ironman, it's such a long day. What might have worked in the last race isn't necessarily going to work in the next race. So you've got to have the nutrition plan, you've got to have your pacing plan, but at the same time, you've got to be able to think on your feet and change that if you need to.
Now we've got a couple of the orange caps. Remember, they are members of a relay team. But certainly Tom McGlashan is up there having a very good swim. And Craig Twigg, I think, second place in the individual competition. So that's a really good start for him. And as I said earlier on, he's a good, strong man on the bike. So looking to get a healthy start. That's Twigg there, that characteristic arm movement, a high left arm, slightly lower right arm, breathing on the left side. And now the 2.4 miles completed. That's 3.8 kilometres for those of you who've gone metric. And they've averaged just over 1 minute 10 per 100 metres. That's very good swimming indeed at this level. So the transition, the long run into T1. Here comes Twig. Well, there's no hanging around at this stage. The transition is an area where you can make up time, but on a race of this length, you've got to make absolutely sure you've got everything in place. McGlashan, Twig, Beachy, the leading three out of the water. Justin Robbins in a strong position. Philip Mosley, he's a really promising athlete, and Tom Vickery there in sixth. So Vickery, Mosley, Twig, I think perhaps those with the most potential over the whole distance. Twig grabbing his high-tech bike with the disc wheel, and already his experience showing off because he's gone ahead of McGlashan with his transition skills. Just slightly surprised he hasn't got any elastics on the back of his shoes just to hold them in place as he runs out of the transition area, because you are not allowed to mount the bike until you go over the designated line. There's the marshal who's instructing him. And he's going to be the first away of the individual athletes. 112 miles to go. Hot on his tail now is Tom McGlashan. He's a very good swimmer, McGlashan, we know that, but he is not as strong as Twig on the bike, so we'll see how he gets on. Tom Vickery, and away he goes. Now you can see how steady his cycle shoes are as he goes out. Now this man's a pretty good runner. He's just done the Cambridge half marathon in 1:13, I think his time was. If he can do 2:26, that would be sensational. Unlikely at the end of the bike ride. The first woman out of the water, and it's Carly Dolman. Now she's recorded a time of 56.08 in the water. That's sub 90 seconds for each of the 100 metres. So a really good effort from her. Now we're expecting to see a cycle ride of around 6 hours for Dolman. She's going to have to do a little bit better than that if she wants to hold off the fastest women in the field. 2.5 miles just about taking its toll on some of the athletes in the water. Let's have a look at the women's standings. Dolman, Dransfield and Mansfield, the first three, with Claire Friday ahead of Karen Dawson. And the margin's fairly big at the end of the swim. The pink socks belonging to Stacey Dransfield. Just steady through transition, nothing spectacular, but no mistakes, I suspect. And Eugene Grant, last year's winner. My goodness, what a history he's had in this event. He's been trying to complete it since 2010 and get under that 10-hour barrier. Finally did it last year when he won the race. Now, here's another first-timer here, and a rock star trying to become an outlaw. It's Charlotte Cooper, a member of the Subways. In fact, she's a bassist and a vocalist, and hot off the stage from Glastonbury. So I'm not sure how much training she's managed to get done, but she has had the help of Rekha Ravichandran, who finished third here last year. And she is desperate to beat the time she set last year, and she's immensely strong on the bike. Charlotte Cooper, well, there's no doubt she will be quicker in the water.
Quite a local race for me. I live in Sheffield, so it's not too far away. I've got lots of friends that have done the race before, so it's awesome. Particularly my friend Rekha, who you can talk to in a bit. She's done it a few times, so the organisation's great, the support's great, and it's just a really good fun race to do.
So Rekha's taken you around the course, and she giving you some tips, or is there a bit of competition between the two of you?
She's been amazing, actually. There's no real competition. We're kind of just really happy for each other and kind of just really looking forward to seeing each other on the course. I think the run, because it's kind of out and back and loops, I think we'll be able to see each other for a little bit of a high five and see how each other's getting on.
So Charlotte Cooper out of the transition, and Rekha a little way behind after the first phase of this Outlaw Triathlon. I don't think she'll be surprised by that, and actually it would be quite nice to have someone to chase down, so she'll be watching out for the bike and the back of Charlotte Cooper, who is leading by a few minutes at the moment.
No competitiveness at all. She's a much better swimmer and a much better runner than me, and hopefully I'll make some time off on the bike, but who knows, who knows.
1 hour, 12 minutes in the water for Raker. Some way behind the leaders, but a long way ahead of a Commonwealth medalist.
Jamie, how are you doing?
Yeah, glad that's over with. It was probably about as I expected, so I'm quite happy. So I'm ready to crack on now.
You're on time. You said 1:35 on the swim. I think you've nailed it.
Yeah, I think I got there. So yeah, looking forward to the next bit anyway. So head down for a bit and get on with it.
Best of luck.
Good stuff. Cheers.
A long way to go for Jamie as the bikes continue to pour out of the transition area. Always fantastic support here in Nottingham. And Kimberly Mangleshot is going to need some of that. She's done well so far. The swim completed. She is running on adrenaline at the moment. Let's hope it gets her round.
But it's a great atmosphere down here, and what a fantastic send-off for the swimmers turned cyclists. I hope there's support like this out there on the course, because I've got a feeling that the competitors are definitely going to need it.
Welcome back to the Outlaw Triathlon, where over 1,000 athletes are currently out on the bike course. And by the time they reach South Westminster, they will have not only swum 2.4 miles, but they will have also cycled more than the distance from London to Brighton. But at the 56-mile mark, this historic church signifies only the halfway point of their route around Nottinghamshire today. And of course, after that, well, there's still the marathon to go.
Well, this is the chase group, and they're all in pursuit of Craig Twigg, who's out there pushing the pace at the moment. We got Tom Vickery at the back of this three. Philip Mosley is there as well. Carl Alexander in front. No drafting permitted, which is why they're keeping the distance between each other. Philip Mosley nicely sandwiched in the middle. He's a man who knows all about triathlon. He writes about it, he coaches it, and therefore he should know exactly how to pace himself on a race like this, what power output he should have on the bike.
For the last sort of 5 years or more, I've been writing about triathlon and training for Ironmans, and I've been coaching people to train for Ironmans as well. So now it's time for me to show that I can practice what I preach.
Well, he's a name that we'll watch out for as this race unfolds. Here comes Craig Twigg into the water resupply, and he didn't seem to have too much problem picking up the bottle at that stage, an indication that he's comfortable at the pace that he's setting at the moment, and he's very, very capable of taking 10-15 minutes out of the next best cyclist. He's so strong on the bike and looking very steady at the moment.
Really enjoy the bike. I do like going for it on the bike, so there's no secret to my race plan. I try and swim as hard as I can. Even though I pace the bike, I do attack it at times as well. And then it's a case of survival on the run, really. So yeah, not to walk on the run.
Well, he's a man capable of going under 9 hours. He did that in Barcelona earlier this year. Here we see Stacey Dransfield, who is now the leading lady. She's gone ahead of Dolman and put quite a lot of time into the fastest swimmer of the day. Let's have a look at the standings in the women's event. Dransfield leading, 4.5 minutes clear of Dolman now. And that's a very impressive start to the bike ride. Now, Ravichandran wasn't on that leaderboard, but she's already made her way up into 12th, having been over 18 minutes behind out of the water.
Everybody's been saying, are you going to want to be on the podium again? Are you going to do one better? And the reality is, I don't know who else is taking part. And I know a couple of girls who are really, really strong. So I don't know where I'm going to finish. I want to be smiling when I come through the finish line. I want to have had, hopefully a great bike, because that's my best bit, my strongest bit. But it's just great to be here, a sunny day, lots of friends around, lots of family. I'm just going to really try and enjoy it and not get too het up on finishing on the podium or getting a particular time.
Well, she looks to me as though she is really pushing the pace, and she's closing down on Charlotte Cooper, who seems to have adopted a slightly different approach.
Kind of with pacing, I know to be sensible, particularly on the bike, I think. Don't go off too hard and knacker my legs for the run. Things like I eat every half an hour on the bike, so that kind of breaks it up. Sometimes with the run, I count in my head, or something I heard Paula Radcliffe does. It's a good tip, like the best. Just count to 100 over and over again, and then it's amazing how quickly the miles go by when you do things like that.
Absolutely right. Break the race down into sections. Doesn't matter whether it's telegraph poles or whether it's numbers. Something to distract you. Now this will distract Charlotte Cooper to see her friend Rekha Ravichandran flying past and keeping the same pace as some of the very good men out in the field. The heat of the day is building. That could prove a test for these cyclists later on. Jamie Quarry still going well. I don't think he was wearing pink socks when he won his bronze medal at the Commonwealth Games in 2002. 41 now, Jamie Quarry. He'll be appreciating all the support here.
Well, with the athletes coming through this spot here at Carl Colston 4 times on today's bike crew, it certainly is the perfect spot for spectators, many of whom have travelled quite some distance to be here.
From Lanarkshire, from Outlaw Triathlon Club. There's a team of about 9 taking part, so we're hoping to see them soon. It's a great event, fantastic event, really enjoying it.
Now, I know my geography, and that tells me that's a Cornish flag. You guys have travelled a long way today.
We have. We've come all the way from Snorstall. It took us about 8 hours on Friday morning.
And who have you got racing here today?
We've got Steve Kovas, Matt Nicholas and Stuart Nicholas.
Have they come by yet?
No, they've come by one way and we're waiting for Steve to come past the other way. So they're on their way well and truly well.
We're supporting your dad, aren't we?
What's your dad's name?
Matt Bacon.
And what number is he?
390.
How's he doing so far?
Well, he threw up on the swim.
He threw up on the swim?
Why? Because of the sea, but now he's fine.
Well, good luck to you, Matt Bacon. That's usually a sign of trying exceptionally hard. There goes Rekha Ravichandran, who's having an excellent ride so far. And, well, no race number. And I think just heading down to the shops. Which is getting as much of a cheer as anyone else out here today, and so she should. And here is Kimberly Mangleshot, still smiling, still going, motivated by the fact that she didn't get to race in Barcelona and by the fact that she's raising money for cancer research, but perhaps most of all by the fact that her brother suffers from MS and she appreciates how good her life is. Good speed. Stacey Dransfield, the leader of the women's event, almost 10 minutes clear of Jen Seeger. Now, Rekha Ravichandran has got herself into the top 6. She's having a flyer. Jenny Bosman also going really well. Those two now less than 15 minutes behind the race leader, so gaining all the time. Jenny Bosman, what an improvement she's made in 18 months. Looking very accomplished.
I took up triathlon 6 months before the Outlaw last year. It was a birthday present to myself, and bought a bike and started swimming again since I hadn't swum since I was 11. So yeah, just kind of got going with it last year and really enjoyed it. So back again.
So Bosman has got herself into the top 6. Now she's a sub 3 hour marathon runner. Not in a triathlon of this length, but it does show that she's very quick. Craig Twigg. Now, the fact that his feet are out of the shoes is the indication that he's coming into transition. 112 miles on the bike, almost complete. And he has stormed it, still pulling clear of those behind. We always knew it would be a quick bike ride. I think he had an even better swim than we were expecting. The day is going very nicely. Now, have a look at these times. Twigg, a lead of 18 minutes over Carl Alexander and Philip Mosley. Kevin Dawson's going well. Tom Vickery's on the way up the leaderboard. Lunn and McGlashan not far out of the top 5. Now, Craig Twigg onto the roads. The running has started. He'll do the first 5 kilometres fairly steady. He's a little fortunate to have the company of one of the relay teams just behind him. That could be a massive advantage for Craig Twigg. Carl Alexander chasing hard in second place. 18 minutes to make up. He's still got time for a kiss on the way round. Well, that might get him a few hundred metres before he thinks of the pain again. Break the run down. He'll have to pace this perfectly.
He had a 15-minute lead, didn't he? I ain't saying anything. Huh? I ain't saying nothing. Oh, you just ruined my... Why? What? Go away. I knew he'd open his bike.
So, Philip Mosley, that hasn't taken long to close the 20 seconds down on Carl Alexander. And you may be surprised that they can talk to each other, but general advice at this level is make sure you can talk. If you can't, you're going too fast. The leading woman, Dransfield, into T2. How are those legs working? Not too well, it looks at the moment. Is she going to be able to finish this one off with a respectable run? Anything under 4 hours is good. Well, it's nice to see that she's got support here. She's going to need it. This is where it really starts to hurt. Farah Seeger into the transition area. We're expecting to see Rekha Ravichandran fairly soon. She's been making up ground all the time. And now up into fourth ahead of Louise Parr. Here is Ravichandran. Remember, third last year. Desperate to beat her time. And I suspect if she does beat last year's time, she'll beat last year's position. Dransfield starting to get those running legs back. This looks nice. The run working its way around the River Trent footpath. They'll see Trent Bridge, they'll see the City Ground, Victoria Embankment. And with multiple loops, they'll know every single metre of this course by the time they finish. And the key is to set a pace that you can maintain right the way through the 26 miles. Rekha closing now on Jen Seeger. Will she put in a little burst just to make sure she gets clear? I think it's unlikely. And just eases her way past. Already the pain setting in. The run does so much more damage to the body than the swim or the bike ride. The micro trauma, the stresses. Run smooth, run strong. Well, the finish line on the left awaits, but it's going to be a while. They've got a few laps to go. Jenny Bosman, who's setting a good pace. Now, at the European Championship 50-kilometre walk, there were plenty who had their feet off the ground longer than Bosman does. It's a unique style, but she is moving really well. She's on pace for a 3-hour 30 marathon, and that is sensational in these conditions. So I'd be very surprised if she doesn't move up above the 6th position that she's in at the moment. Craig Twigg still looking very, very cool. Tom Vickery fresh as a result of staying off the racetrack for the last month, and Phil Mosley, all of them deep in thought, deep in pain, I suspect. But it's how you deal with it that makes the difference between winners and losers.
Welcome back to the Outlaw Triathlon. Many of the 1,150 athletes are now out on the run. But as ever with distances of this kind, and as we saw last year, dreams can be dashed or made real on the final 26.2 miles.
Well, this man is hoping his dreams are going to come true. Craig Twigg, who's been the leader pretty much since they came out of the water. The first out of T1 certainly, and just taking on water from some of the hundreds of volunteers here in Nottingham. And there's no doubt that they make the race possible. This man raced in South Africa in April. He was delighted to finish there. He's had a couple of years of hamstring problems, and that can be a major, major issue. But he's going well and on his way to what could be a famous victory.
I've always had a bit of a problem, especially when I get to about the 30k point of the run, and that's really where it, you know, the race really starts. If you're in a race and you've really got to knuckle down and suffer. There's nothing, no two ways about it. You've just got to get down and suffer, you know.
Well, Tom Vickery will know all about this. This is his third race of this distance this year. That's a phenomenal programme to undertake. But he's still moving well, trying to close down on Philip Mosley, who's in second position at the moment. So a podium position very much possible. He's not catching Twigg at this pace. Well, there you see it, Twigg, Mosley, Vickery, the top three. And it all comes down to how they manage the final stages of the race.
Do I need to eat? Do I need to back off here? Catching your heart rate, not burning matches, as they call it. So if you go too hard and you burn a match, that's may not affect you then, but when you get to the end of the run, you've burnt too many matches on the bike, you may find it very hard to keep running.
Vickery has a little break, and Craig Twigg also taking on water. 400 offers of volunteers this year. Well, you can see from the running styles that the pain is setting in, and for some a little bit too much. Jamie Quarry, now he's been having problems with his calf in training, and it looks as though it's that or a hamstring, just stretching it out, trying to keep the cramp at bay. Well, I've got huge respect. A man who's used to winning will be beaten by some fairly average club triathletes today. An appreciation of just how tough this sport is. Rika, I bet that feels good. Staying hydrated and keeping the body temperature down, so important. The showers have been laid on and will be very welcome on a hot, hot day like this.
Oh, I'm in the hurt locker massively. 2 punctures on the back. I didn't even know if I get to the end, so I just put my head down and gone balls out, and I think I've ruined myself.
So how long are you into the run?
Literally just started.
You just started the run. How do your legs feel?
Like death.
How far are you into the run? Because it is looped. Quarter of a mile, so you just got off the bike. How's the legs feeling?
My legs are fine. My back aches a little bit. I took my time in transition, almost a full change, and I feel relaxed. I'm going to stay relaxed and going to keep smiling.
Well, many have just started the run. Jenny Bosman, who took the lead at the halfway stage of the marathon, is about to start her last lap, and she leads by a healthy margin and still looks full of running. My goodness, she's lived up to her reputation as a superb runner. Incidentally, she's still on schedule for a 3:30 marathon. Fantastic stuff. The 36-year-old from Newark keeps the feet low, keeps the arms pumping, and one by one she goes past the other runners. The second place woman now, this is Hannah Katie Peel. Now, she lost 9 minutes to Bosman in the water. She had a good bike ride and has pretty much kept the same distance behind Bosman on the run so far. So the women's race is far from decided. Craig Twigg is still looking very, very good. It's not a long stride, but there's a little bit of knee lift. The arms are moving nicely. The head is nice and central and stable. He does not look as though he is going to run out of energy before the end, because he can almost see the finish now. Well, this is going to be a very good time. Craig Twigg, who remember was sub 9 hours in Barcelona. I don't think he's quite going to match that time, but it's a very hot day here in Nottingham. And he takes that left turn onto the red carpet. And a man who was in the lead group on the swim, he was the first out of T1, and he has never been bettered. And he's about to become the 2014 Outlaw champion, and he has done it in style. A man who has a reputation for going hard on the bike has managed to keep it going right the way to the finish line. That is one superb performance.
I think I did it the hard way from the front, and you know, I had a comfortable swim. I went for it on the bike, I always do, and then I was running well for the first 20, 30k, and then I really blew the last 10k. I managed to get it together for the last lap, but I mean, I was running scared at the end, I think. Yeah, you know, you'd think it was comfortable, but that's Ironman, you know, and all it takes is one, you know, mishap and they come at you like hell.
And here comes Philip Mosley to take the runners-up spot. He's closed the gap from 20 minutes down to just under 3.
I've never done the Outlaw before, I've never done the distance. I didn't know what to expect, to be honest. So I took it quite cautiously. I was really scared. I barely slept for 2 days and I was worrying about the distance. So yeah, I managed to get around. I obviously paced it okay in the end.
Well, he certainly did, only 2:28 behind. That was a fantastic comeback. Craig Twigg's winning time of 9:03.32, and completing the podium, Tom Vickery, 9:53 behind.
I'm just so pleased that I held it together on the run. I've never been able to do it before. Last time, man, I really fell apart at the halfway bit, and just I sort of hang on. So I'm pleased that I'm almost like I raced it, and I'm dead pleased.
And here's the man who won last year, Eugene Grant, fails to defend his title, but he has still finished in the top 10, and he's completed every single Outlaw so far, all 5 of them. The leading lady, it is still Jenny Bosman, and she's running just as fast as she was last time she came past this point, but this time she gets to turn left and she'll take the hand of her kids and run the last 50 metres together. This is what it's all about. It's not just about the athlete, the rest of the family make massive sacrifices as well. And it's quite right that they should take some of the glory.
I'm thrilled, I'm absolutely thrilled. I knew I was better on the bike than last year, and I was flying about 6th place, something like that. But the TV crew told me that the leading lady was miles away and I'd never catch her. So I thought, well, as long as I get top 3, I'll be happy. And then just on the run, I started just reeling them in. So it was a big surprise.
Hannah Katie Peel hangs on to 2nd place, still running well. And Rekha Ravichandran moving all the way up into the top 3 and equaling last year's result.
A little bit faster, so I'm really pleased with that. I had a great swim, really enjoyed the bike. The run was horrendous, really struggled. I knew from about maybe mile 5 that I was just in trouble, all sorts of trouble. You know, normally you have a couple of minutes of dark periods. I had 90% dark periods. It was tough, really tough.
So Bosman taking the title in 2014, 10:35.45, very respectable time, 22 minutes clear of Hannah Katie Peel. And Stacey Dransfield, who led for such a long time, down in 5th eventually. Well, this event is about so much more than those who finish at the top of the result sheet.
It was tough, fantastic course, fantastic day, tough, but they're meant to be.
I can't describe it, it means everything in the world. That's what you're doing all the way around, 26.2. Looking forward to these guys being there.
Much harder than I was expecting. The heat has wiped me out, absolutely wiped me out.
First time here at the Outlaw?
Yeah, really good, brilliant, absolutely loved the day.
Fantastic, really fantastic. Yeah, totally unexpected for me, really. Big struggle on the run, but you know, everything else, what can I say? Absolutely amazing.
Months and months of preparation and training. And all of these runners under that 17-hour mark, making themselves outlaws. And let's not forget the relay teams, this year won by Team Extra. A really impressive time, just over 8 hours, 8:18:27. And that's the second fastest ever that we've seen at the Outlaw. Charlotte Cooper swam brilliantly, paced herself on the bike and still seems to be running well.
Now you're nearing the end, how are you feeling?
Oh, elated. I know it's going to probably, performance-wise, probably one of my worst races, but I think actually probably personally my best that I think I'm going to finish now.
Well, come on then, you can do it. See you at the finish line.
The emotions starting to boil over, as it is with so many of these runners and so many of their supporters. And Charlotte Cooper across the finish line, a spent force.
Well, huge congratulations, and your training partner came in third place.
No, I'm so pleased for her. And she wanted to go around about 11 hours, she did 11:02 as well. I'm just so elated, but it was brilliant as well. We saw her 4 times on the ride on that out and back. It was just great to see her.
And here comes Gary Gocher, who, like Eugene Grant, has now completed all 5 Outlaw Triathlons. 7 men can claim that honour. And it doesn't get any easier.
Are you still feeling strong?
No, I'm knackered, absolutely knackered. I got 1 lap to go. What do you think can stop me now?
And here comes Jamie Quarry. I wonder whether he'll do another of these. Most people forget the pain eventually.
I'm just shattered. I did an Ironman 30 years ago and I haven't been one since, so I thought I'd have a go. I did Hawaii 30 years almost to the day. So I thought and I'll be another 30 years.
Well done. Is this last lap?
Yes.
Well done. How you feel?
My knee. I would love to run, but my knee won't let me. I'm very disappointed.
What's kept you going over the last lap?
Because I'm not going to not finish.
One leg.
That's it.
Physical and emotional suffering, but they all know why.
It must be so painful. It really hurts. Just getting to the finish. I got my kids.
You'll do it.
My wife at the end.
Go on, you'll do it.
And that's the motivation to get there now.
Russell Deleu digging deeper than most today. The pictures say more than words possibly can. What an amazing effort. And how about this? Here's a woman who hasn't stopped smiling since she started at crack of dawn this morning.
It's really hard work. It's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. But I'm so proud. I'm doing this for so many reasons, but the main reason I'm doing this and running still is I have a gorgeous brother, one brother, and he's got horrible MS. And he can't walk, he can't eat. And you know what? He wakes up every day and he looks the day in the eye and says, come on. So if I can't run, cycle and swim for around 14 and a half-ish hours to make him proud of me, then there's something quite wrong as well.
Well, there are so many emotional, unbelievable stories out there today. Many that we won't hear, but many that will inspire and motivate others. Just 5 meters to go. And Kimberly finally makes it. She wanted to be in before dark. She's well in time, 14:31.56.
I'm proud of everything that I've achieved for myself. I've had a lot of drivers, a lot of motivators, and I'm just proud that I've got it. If anybody tells you you can't, there's no such thing as can't. All you've got to do is believe anything is possible. Brilliant. Phenomenal event.
And here comes decathlete Jamie Quarry. Now, most decathletes hate the 1500. I wonder what he thinks of the marathon distance. But well done to him for finishing. It's been a painful experience, but one that he will remember for a long, long time. His calf injury certainly will have held him up. 14:35.41, his finishing time. If he comes back, he can certainly beat that next year.
The run was probably to be expected given the work I've kind of not done and the condition I'm in, so I'm really happy actually. I'm glad to have finished it, and a few dark times out there, but you know, you just push on through, and you know, and that's the character that you have to show to get through it, so it was good.
Well, it certainly was, and the clock keeps ticking and the athletes keep trickling across the line. 15:58, just over the hour left to achieve outlaw status. Half an hour to spare. Perhaps the most impressive thing that so many of these athletes, most of these athletes, hold down full-time jobs as well as fitting in the training to achieve this sort of a feat. And there are just a few more runners to cross the line.
Huge congratulations, it's been a long day, but your last challenge now is to fight your way through this crowd. Can you believe there's all these people here to see you?
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's absolutely fantastic. This is your moment, sir. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
Well, there you go. Young or old, spectator or competitor, the Outlaw has managed to inspire the masses once again. Even at this late stage, everyone's still loving it. Probably so much they'll come back and do it all again another year. But for this year, from all of us, goodbye.